Hello and welcome back to Belmont Bunch. This week on Belmont Bunch, Tom, my co-host, and I are going to be talking about the New York Islanders as we do every week, because there's always more stuff to talk about when it comes to the Islanders. So, Tom, how about those Islanders?
Yeah, pretty fun bounce back week. Ilya Sorokin going off with 2 shutouts, winning me my fantasy game single-handedly, but also getting the Islanders back to a spot where this road trip is starting to feel okay. We know it's a very long road trip, so much so that the NHL had to build in kind of a bye week into the first half of this.
Yep,
And
we are in the midst of a bye week right now, and then I think there's also, like the week after next, so you got 3 days. They have a lot of 3 days off, kind of between things going on.
But it's nice. It gives us a chance to kind of break down this road trip bit by bit. And next week will be funny because we'll only have one game. But I do, it gives us a good opportunity to, in little chunks talk about the team. And I guess before we go into it, I guess we'll touch on the Blackhawks stuff very quickly because we'll see. I feel like some people are extremely equipped to talk about this stuff, and I don't want to not talk about it. So I'll at least say that. So we filmed this Wednesday night, and Coach Quenneville coached tonight for the Panthers, and I do feel for the Panthers players because they are just caught in this now, in the middle of a 7-0 start. They deserve a lot of credit, and I hope this doesn't ruin their season. But I don't know how the NHL allowed him to coach tonight. And I know there's a lot of people that are saying oh, you can't, innocent until proven guilty. But your business, I feel like at minimum for optics sake, you have to be okay, we got to take this seriously. This coach could have helped aid and abet, someone who is reading from the article again, was convicted of 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct in 2013 with a student. So that's not even up for debate. That is he's a registered sex offender. And we're seeing this, dispersal of all the people that were in management positions at the Blackhawks at that time. And, I think it was easier for the Blackhawks to do because, they're all so bad. So we can get rid of the guy because we're all so bad. I think the real thing here, the brave thing is for the teams that are good, that have these people in positions of leadership, to really look at letting them go, if they're involved, if they're proven to be involved. And in Quenneville's case, it doesn't look good because Kyle Beach is alleging that they had meetings, in the coach's office. So it sounds virtually impossible for the coach not to have heard about this. And I think at minimum with that breaking today, he should have probably been on leave, even if it was paid leave, because he's meeting with the NHL tomorrow. He's meeting with the commissioner. So I feel like if you were already planning that meeting, maybe don't let him coach tonight, because it could look pretty bad in retrospect. And also, I don't want someone in the game that could hurt somebody like this by hiding stuff. So I guess that's my quick thing about the Blackhawks. And I hope Kyle Beach is doing okay. He's still playing. He's still playing. He's playing in Germany. I'm very happy that he's still able to have a career in hockey after dealing with this situation. And I just hope everything's working out for him in Germany. He's got a girlfriend over there. So yeah, that's my take on the Blackhawks situation. I guess we'll move right into the Islanders then.
Yeah.
So we have 3 games that we're going to talk about pretty quickly because we already did our recaps that are available on the channel that you can see or listen to on Spotify. If you don't want to look at my face, which is fair today. I didn't shave because today is kind of my weekend day. So the Columbus game. It was the start of them coming out of that early season funk. but they weren't quite there yet. They did. I'm looking at now on ESPN. The Islanders have started to get the body going in terms of hitting. They out hit Columbus 26-11.
Holy crap!
So yeah, and we'll look at the other two games hits, but the Islanders I think are starting to assert themselves physically. The offense is starting to get going, and the goaltending is starting to come around. Defense is still kind of up in the air. On
that Chara, left side.
Yeah. Green has looked better.
Yeah, Green has looked a lot better this week, for sure.
Well,
Chara,
he's back.
I was gonna say I thought Chara looked better, but obviously it's still easy at the moment to get on him
because he's the weak link even if he's playing well. But Green looked better playing with Dobson because he's used to that, and that worked last year. Man, I feel bad for Scott Mayfield right now because I don't feel like he's playing too bad.
Well, he scored a goal in this game.
Yes, yeah. That was good to see him jump up in the play. And
that was an awesome. That was like I remember watching that play and legitimately being surprised. I was like, what is Scott Mayfield doing there? And then it just he pinched at the exact right time. So
yeah, and he got a little bit of luck, but we need the defense to pinch in like that when they can.
Deflected off a skate right into the.
Yes. Yeah. The danger, there's always going to be a danger of a counterattack if you mishandle the puck when you pinch. But I feel like the structure and also just the responsibility of your, partner, if you're pinching in, somebody's going to be dropping back for you most of the time. And it's also up to you to know when you can pinch and have backup and when you're taking a big risk. And Mayfield, I think, has been doing a good job. Surprisingly offensively, which is not usually something in his game, except, in the playoffs last year, he was pretty decent offensively. So it's nice to see him carry that over. Remember last year, he was kind of my whipping boy.
Oh, yes.
And in the playoffs, I loved him. And I see a little bit of that playoff performance in him in the regular season now. And I hope that stays.
This is something I wonder a lot about with the Trot system. It's like, does it squash up, some players' offensive instincts, especially defense players. Like, I mean, I don't know if this is a good example, but when Taves was playing for the team, it's like Taves is now playing. You good?
Yeah, I kicked my mic.
Taves is now like an offensive all-star, offensive all-star, whatever, for the Avalanche. It's like
I think I just had a stroke.
So. Like I guess he always had that, but it's been able to flourish a lot better in the Avalanche system than, he's
Islanders. Also playing. He's playing with Cale Makar, who's one of the best offensive defensemen in the game. So yeah, I think part of it is just going to a different team structure, one that's better offensively, and I don't, like that team is a great regular season team. I do think the Islanders have shown in the playoffs the last few years that Colorado hasn't gotten past the second round.
What's up with that?
I think there's something to be said
about
the Islanders.
Why don't you tell me?
Oh, well, they're not good enough defensively, and their goaltending isn't to the level the Islanders is, so I think that's the difference there. And, the Islanders, it's something that I watched the Amazon documentary about the Leafs this past week, and it was about the Leafs' previous season last year when they blew the 3-1 lead to Montreal, and throughout the year they weren't scoring what they called playoff type goals, those greasy ugly goals that you score more in the playoffs, because in the playoffs let's be honest, the rules are different. Like, people are allowed to get away with more in the playoffs because the referees play by a different playbook or rule book, and so once the playoffs start, the goals tend to be uglier because the skaters don't get to just walk in. That's the Islanders, luckily, I feel, play that way in the regular season, where they're ready to score those ugly goals. Look at the Scott Mayfield goal, like we said. And even the Barzal goal, even though it was a snipe, we had like five guys in front of the net there.
Wait, which goal? What? I don't remember that play.
The one in the Columbus game. So even Andy Green was screening the goalie. It was like, how did Andy Green get down low?
Right.
But
no, because I was thinking of because he scored in the Vegas game
Yes.
Barzal on a really sharp angle shot against Leonard. That's what I was thinking of. So I don't remember that goal that Barzal had, but whatever.
Also top corner.
Yeah, he was shopping in the toy store.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
He's been a fan of the toy department so far.
I like calling it the I like calling it the toy store day.
Season. Fair enough.
Yeah, we just cut each other off. I'm cutting you off again.
I'll say it for a fifth time. It's not even Christmas season, and he's shopping in the toy department already.
Yes, we got it.
There we go.
We got it. All right. I don't know if I said this while we're recording, but I can't remember who it was, but somebody had made like a jersey that said Toy Store on the back. and so now I love calling it, because I was like so confused. I was like, I didn't get it. And then I asked you, and then you were like, oh, toy department. I was like, oh, duh, you know. I guess I just couldn't fit department on the back of it. Yeah, and probably. I just thought, so now I like saying the toy store because it's so silly. Anyway,
just put toy DE.
I know.
PT, and it's one more letter.
I know.
But you're paying by the letter. So I guess we'll move on. Okay, before we move on to Arizona very quickly, the game-winning goal. First of all, Soro-King played fine. The goals weren't really his fault, and the game winner by Line, just like so it was 3-on-3 OT, and
right.
It was easy for it to look like I think it was Chara's fault. Lee, because Lee was the guy closest. How could he get around Lee? But the other two Islanders on the ice were on the wrong side of that play. So Lee's backup just like disappeared, and then all of a sudden, oh no, it's one of the league's best snipers with a wide open chance. So not much that you could do. It was a frustrating loss because it felt like the Islanders were building on something, but the next two games showed that they were building on something, and that was just an unfortunate loss. And Columbus has been pretty good so far, so we got to give them their credit. We got to visit the desert next for 2 games in the Southwest.
Two late games in the Southwest.
Yes. We got the Yotes first, and this one was interesting. You were over watching this game. Wasn't the most eventful game ever. Very classic Islanders.
Which is odd because we scored a goal in each period.
Yeah.
And shout out to the second line. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, the second line finally got going, and it's funny. It got going with Bailey not on it. So everybody was on to Bailey.
Right.
We'll complete the character arc after the Vegas game. But,
yes.
Everybody was on Bailey because, look, Nelson gets a goal. Bo gets a goal. That line starts to look good with Palmieri on it. And somehow, and I tweeted it as a joke, but the Islanders promoted Bailey to the first line after being terrible the first few games. And I was like, he got promoted? But I know last year Bailey had some success on the first line, so I'm sure Barry was going based off that. I was just looking to make it funny. But it did end up working out because I guess that third line has been so effective, which at that time was Pajot, Wahlstrom, and Parise. And that did get shook up because those wingers ended up playing with Barzal.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the lines have been in a blender so far, but it's been working. I got to give Trotz a lot of credit.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think you and I go back and forth on, where it's just like, oh, it's cool that it's working and stuff, but it's like that is generally something that we've seen from Trotz when he's in desperation mode, when the team's like really looking for the win, and so it's like it's worrying that we're already kind of doing that. But I think it kind of goes back to, we have a few new players on the team, which obviously happens pretty much every season. So it's like just finding out how things work together the best, And I don't know, I think you said it tends to keep players on their toes. Or I think I've just heard that before. I don't know if it was from you. Which, I don't know. I guess they just don't want to get too comfortable, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Getting too comfortable with your line mates and then not being, like, thinking that line mate will do work or something like that,
Yeah, I do think at some point they're going to want to settle down the line stuff.
Oh, yeah, I would hope so.
To let guys build up chemistry a little bit better. But I talked about that specifically on the defense being something where they're...
Yeah.
I'm more worried about it on the defense because the forwards are finding a way. On defense, there's still some questions about the structure. And even though they get 2 shutouts to end this week, but a lot of that was Soro-King. And a lot of it might have just been playing the Arizona Coyotes. I was sure that Andrew Ladd was going to score in this game. But But the reason that I was going to say I'm more worried about it on defense is because I feel like Trotz is trying to tell Lou, hey, I can't find a place for Chara where he's good. Might be time to, it's very early, but I would love to see at some point either Aho get his shot, even though I'm not a big Aho guy because he's very offensive as a defenseman, not very defensive, and that's not our system. But I don't know. I'd at least a shot. Like, get a look, see what he looks like. If that doesn't work out, I want to see at some point this year Robin Salo, who was the guy that I wanted on the team coming into the year.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a really good start in Bridgeport, so I feel like at some point we're going to have to see him. If Chara doesn't get better and Salo keeps doing well in Bridgeport, I feel like the shoe, the foot's going to have to drop. And the Chara thing is fun as a meme, but it's not fun when he's committing penalties away from the puck, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But Cal Clutterbuck scores.
Yeah.
Great shot. We know Clutterbuck can do that. Nelson on the power play, no less, in this economy. And Beauvillier. So, yeah, just exciting to see the team structurally mostly look good, even against a bad team. It's good practice. And Soro-King looking very calm, very ready, not overdoing his movements like I thought he did in the first couple games. And it's putting him in a better position to make saves. I'm not a goalie coach, but that's what I get from the eye test.
Continuing building the narrative, we had 37 hits in this game.
Yeah.
That's insane. So to the Coyotes 26.
I think we're making teams uncomfortable now. We're doing a good job of making teams. Yeah.
We're just going to bully them. We don't need to play the Islanders too much, right?
And that transitioning into the Vegas game, that culminated in a 44-hit outburst against Vegas.
Holy
we had 44 hits to their 19.
That's insane.
Vegas is a team that isn't afraid to hit, although their lineup is depleted right now. They have Keegan Colasar on their fourth line, who is a tough guy and gets a lot of hits. The Islanders bullied them in that regard, and now Vegas bullied us at the final shot totals, but it did feel mostly like one of those games where the Islanders get outshot, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like the shots are coming from the outside and they're from manageable places.
Yeah, right.
Bailey had a great game, so we'll complete that character arc. Josh Bailey has his best game of the year by far. He gets the first goal after working hard along the boards, getting it to Pajot, and then finishing off the rebound. Like, great job, Bailey. And then he factored into the Barzal goal. He gets the assist. Ironically, Josh Bailey, I think, leads the team in points right now. He does.
No,
that's what
are
he
you
does.
serious?
I think he is.
Holy
so
crap.
I think he has a goal and 3 assists.
Let's see.
Because the
Oh my God, you're right.
The scoring's been kind of spread out, which is the way that we do it. Like,
right.
we know. And
he is
also,
a -3 though. Weirdly.
Yeah. I think it was worse though. He's getting.
I think it was. It might have actually been a -3. That doesn't make sense though.
Well, he picked up 2 pluses in this game.
Right, and he definitely didn't get any minuses in the Arizona game, and we only lost by 1 in the Blue Jackets game. So.
Yeah. So he's the team's trending in the right way that way.
Yeah. I can't believe he has 4 points.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this. We don't have a lot of assists so far.
Right.
So
we've had a lot of unassisted goals.
So our leading point totals are pretty low.
And the leading goal scorers, Barzal and Wallstrom, are tied for 3 goals.
Yeah.
I think Nelson will probably end the year with the most goals, though. Maybe Wallstrom.
Oh, he's streaky, so he'll. Yeah. I think Brock has 2 right now, so it's not like he hasn't done anything. He just kind of went absent for a couple games there.
Yeah, and that's that's normal. So I think we can go right into hot or not then, if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
So I have. I'll go first if you don't mind, because I already started talking. So I have actually 2, maybe even 3 hot or nots, and they maybe even 4 hot or nots, because
all right, let's calm down now.
I was gonna originally say the second line, since all 3 of them scored at some point this week. So I was like, all right, that's great. Like seeing the second line heat up is one of the best things ever, because it feels like it feels like a relief. It's a weird combination of a relief that they're scoring and also like as like good things to come because it's like they do get streaky. But I also can't. I have to mention Barzal has 2 goals this week, right?
Yeah.
So he's got to be at least an honorable mention.
And both
then,
of them were excellent shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the third I was going to mention to the fourth line because they've just been hardworking, laying the body, finishing their checks, like crazy. Every time I see Matt Martin, I'm like, I just feel like it feels a little weird that he like practices MMA, but he's like hot. Like I feel like that shouldn't be allowed, but like whatever.
Yeah, you got to be ready for those fights.
Exactly.
Although the only guy he ever loses a fight to is on his team now.
I know. And then the fourth hot or not person who really should be the first is Soro-King for obviously 2 back-to-back or 2 shutouts back-to-back. And I mean, I would be surprised. What did he have? 6 shutouts in the shortened season last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Like I would be surprised if he didn't beat that record for more than 6 shutouts this year. Considering he already has 2.
Feels like a possible breakout year, like a huge breakout year.
Yeah, for a full 82 game season, like he had a little bit of a rough start, but I mean, I don't think anybody can blame him.
The whole team did.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what would you say for hot or not?
So fairly, I guess for me, pretty obvious. Soro-King, hot, for all the reasons you said, but also.
So we acknowledge that I have more hockey
sense
than you. It's not just
the results.
Got it.
But
okay.
Yes. So not just the results of like the shutouts, but he looks calmer. He is not overplaying his position, and it's putting him in a position to succeed, literally. He's in the correct position. And I guess there's not much more to add to that. He ever since probably the second game, he's been like after the second game on, he's been excellent. In fantasy, he's the number 1 goalie in the league so far.
Wow.
That's not easy to do.
That's crazy.
And this is great because it's a fun look into the future where, he's going to be the starter soon. He's eventually going to overtake Varlamov, and seeing him be the one for a few days, for a week or two, started off scary and has ended up being really fun to watch. And he stole us a game in there. He stole us the Chicago game. And in the other 2 games, he was just excellent. So that's my hot player of the week. I guess the honorable mention would be Bailey for waking up in the way he did. The not player, and you know me, I get on a player and they become a consistent member of what used to be called the sin bin and what is now the not player of the week. It is Chara. In that Vegas game, we had 4 penalty minutes, and they were all Zdeno Chara. Now, the first call was pretty weak, but twice he made contact with a skater away from the puck. And
was that the Vegas game where he either misread the play or whatever? He pretty much boarded a player that was where the pass wasn't coming to him. Like he totally
Yeah, and just
that was the Vegas game, right?
That was the Vegas game. Yeah,
that was really bad.
He's not doing a good job. Like I feel like for a defenseman like him, the best news is no news. The best thing is if I don't notice him, because that means he's doing his job.
And he's really tall, so he's hard not to notice.
The best thing is not noticing him because he's doing his job. Although this week I didn't notice him as much because after the second penalty, he was basically in his own sin bin because Barry Trotz played him 4 more minutes in the game, which is good.
Yeah.
Because this is Trotz. He doesn't let anybody get away with that. Best player on the team, Barzal, he loses ice time when he commits penalties.
Mm-hmm.
You have the veteran, probably the most accomplished player in the team in Chara. He sees the same penalties, so it's good to see that. I guess you could argue, but Josh Bailey was terrible and got moved up to the first line. I think that was more about getting the second line going, and also, it worked out in the Vegas game. So I just trust Trotz with the lineup decisions right now. I think the great thing is we've found out that this lineup is very modular really early on. So yeah.
Yeah, All right, and I would agree with the char thing. And I don't. Would you say then that Green is almost like exemplary of if you don't notice him, he's doing like nothing to complain about, because I feel like at least we don't talk about Green too much unless he does something pretty bad or he's not playing particularly well or at least like playing as well as like he has, because like considering he's probably what 40 now or so, and he's been I think extremely consistent, but every now and then he's either does something great or does something not so great. So yeah, I guess, but that's probably also, to be fair, more of a bias that a lot of hockey viewers, like obviously me included, is like you pay more attention to the offense. That's like where the exciting stuff happens. So
yeah, I mean for the Islanders, I think the exciting stuff is like their ability to make a game boring, but for us it's fun.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, that's like if we find a way to win, like I'm engaged. You know what I mean? Or even if it's close, like that kind of game.
Yeah. Well, in the Trotz era, we've just become like fans of like dumping and chasing, which is not something anybody else in the league probably is excited to see. But yeah, I think like you said, if you find a way to win, the fans will find a way to like it.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like a front runner in a sense, because I really only started paying attention to hockey the past couple of years when the Islanders started doing a lot better.
Just perfectly timed YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been good as long as we've been here.
So we can never leave.
We're the opposite of Steve Dangle.
Oh yeah. So why did he start doing it when the Leafs were terrible?
I mean, they've been terrible the whole time. Just at different points in the season.
Yes.
Are they terrible? Are they terrible throughout the whole regular season? Yes. And then now they're good in the regular season. They're terrible in the playoffs. That poor man.
Yeah. But like the Islanders playing well and doing well throughout the regular season, obviously doing amazing in the playoffs, is like, I mean, I've had friends that I didn't even know paid attention to hockey that have now like started going to games and stuff. And it's like, yeah, sure, maybe they didn't watch every game, but more casual fans have been like really paying attention and engaged.
Yeah, and the new stadium helps. Like the
visibility, oh my god, yeah,
the visibility of the team is probably the highest.
We might be doing some type of virtual tour of the new stadium if we have time in next week's podcast. Yeah.
Good teaser.
Yeah.
And I think we still want to try to get there for the first game ever and talk to people.
For the tailgate, right?
Yeah. Because we don't have tickets for it, but like just to go down there, tailgate, and have fun.
Should we do a Belmont Bunch meetup?
I mean, we could try.
If you're listening to this and you're gonna be at the game or the tailgate, we might see you there.
I will say that's not me being usual non-committal just for non-committal sake. That is me because of my job makes me non-committal to setting anything.
What a perfect excuse for a non-committal person is to have a job that requires them to be non-committal.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's amazing for excuses.
Yeah. I think that bleeds into just the last general thought I have before we talk about upcoming games, unless obviously, please talk about the end. We kind of finish hot or not. So the last general thought I have is that it seems like I'm probably speaking way too early, but it seems like the rust is off. It seems like yeah, sure, we're still working through things, but it's like we have a lifeline. You know what I mean? We won a few games. We have like avenues that we know. I keep on saying we. The team and Trotz have avenues that they know will work to get scoring going, or at least like
we did it.
We did it, everybody.
It's all up.
All the hard work. So I'd say like we're coming out of that like postseason or what is it, like playoff fatigue, and starting to really get into the season. Laying the body, all that stuff.
Yeah, they're doing the stuff that gives them success in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's called Stanley Cup habits. It's another thing that the Leafs coach was talking about in the All or Nothing Amazon series.
I gotta watch this now.
It's pretty good. Although there are two things, there's and you'll love this as someone that's an editor.
Professional editor.
Every single time in the series, if you did a shot every time they did it, you'd die. Every single time they show gameplay and a player shoots a puck, it's the same stock sound effect every time, and it's always the sound of a slap shot, even if it's a backhander, even if the shot was taken and goes 2 miles an hour. It sounds like it was shot out of a cannon, and is hilarious to hear every time.
Some say that's where the name the Kraken came from, was from the crack of the stick. Yeah.
And the other funny thing about the Amazon series is Steve Dangle's in it a bunch.
Oh, that's awesome.
As like they're showing footage, and it's like, here's what the fans think, and it's him going.
It's just. Man.
But also, so you see behind the scenes, like the coach saying, even when the team's winning, and they were in first place for a lot of the year, they're winning games, and the coach is trying to say, hey, but you're not doing this. Hey, and he's like seeing the warning signs of like, oh, we're not going to win in the playoffs because we're not scoring playoff type goals. We're not holding teams. Like when the Leafs would get ahead, they'd blow a bunch of leads. And he was like, these are things that come playoff time cannot happen.
Right.
And luckily for the Islanders, it feels like that's there, that winning culture where it's like, we know how to win in the playoffs. We're going to apply that to the regular season. Mm-hmm. It's part of the reason they don't win the division every year.
Right.
Even when they're good, is because it's not pretty hockey, and sometimes pretty hockey in the regular season wins. Pretty hockey in the playoffs is pretty tough to win with.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have some ability to slow the game down. The last 2 years, the Lightning were so good because they look at the ways they beat the Islanders. They would occasionally beat us at least once in each series, beat the shit out of us in one game, like annihilate us score-wise,
mm-hmm.
like just through offensive like efficiency. And in other games, they would beat us 1-0 on grinded down Islander-like efforts.
That was Game 7 of the that was tough to watch.
So there are not a lot of teams that could win like that. I think everybody is trying to do that. And I think the Islanders have the playoff part of that down. And there's specific teams that the Islanders play weirdly against, like the Capitals. We always play high-scoring, ridiculous games for some reason against the Capitals. And I'm actually fine with that because it's fun. It's a nice change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
We have that one team where it's like, oh, bet the over. This is going to be fun.
See, that's like I like the Penguins for us, like against us, and right, like so when the Penguins play the Islanders, it's like the opposite, where they end up always scoring high against us.
Yeah, miserable playing them.
Yeah, well, right, but it's like
except in the playoffs.
Depends on the perspective. Yeah, that's when it matters. So
yep. So I guess the last two things I wanted to talk about, which are both very, very quick. The upcoming game, we're playing Nashville. I think Varlamov is going to start because he has been activated off the IR. Very excited for Ilya to get a rest, even though he's had a rest, the last few days, us being off. But just excited for Varley to get a shot, especially against a team that it feels like a good team for him to start off against. It's not a great team, but it's not a terrible team. So it's a good opportunity for Varley to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross Johnston got an extension.
Yes.
4 years. It is only $100K more than his previous 4-year deal. So it is funny just the fact that he's gotten 2 different 4-year deals at this point in his career. And if he were part of any other organization, he'd be an AHL, that's not like, shitting on him. That's more being like the Islanders value grit a lot. And they want it to be, I guess, on a contract that other teams don't want to. So like if the Islanders have to waive Ross Johnston, now a team like Toronto can't afford him because it's a little bit more expensive than they're going to want to pick up a contract for. And they don't want to commit 4 years to Ross Johnston and the other team. The Islanders are okay with it because I think we have a lot of money coming off the books next year with Leo coming off. And we have one other player coming off the books that I'm blanking on right now. But Leo's the big, dead contract kind of. And we got rid of Ladd. So the Islanders are going to have a little bit of money.
And is the salary cap going to possibly increase, or is that?
That's a complete who knows at this point.
2 years of
league revenue is going to be doing a little bit better with fans back, but who knows? We don't know. I'm sure the Islander games will be packed because the new stadium.
Season tickets are already sold out for the entire year.
I'm interested to see how other teams' attendances are doing, but I think mostly people are really excited to be back. The reverse retros were made pretty much just to make a ton of money while they could. But on an anecdotal note about the reverse retros, we went to the NHL store, my brother and I, a while back, and the NHL store, the place you would expect to be a place that has the reverse retros, has none because of the shipping stuff still going on with COVID. So maybe the reverse retros haven't had the effect,
Well, maybe like in the actual store, but like if you order them online, it might just take longer.
Well, they're not really available online right now.
Oh wow!
Because there's such a backup, and there's also, I don't want to speculate because I don't know all of the reasons why they're backed up, but I would assume some of it has to do with shipping. I mean that's almost definite. And then on top of that, I wonder if they just weren't prepared for like how well some teams did and how other teams didn't do with like sales. I can't imagine there were many Detroit Red Wings reverse retros sold. I cannot be convinced that there were very many. I'd love to see the data, but I don't think they would, because companies only want to show data now when it's positive. Look at Netflix.
Right.
They only put out views when it's really good.
Yeah.
So that kind of a tangent there, but the salary cap. But yeah, I think the salary cap.
So what you're saying is that the salary cap is directly tied to how well the reverse retros do. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
So they'll have an individual salary cap increase for each team based on how well the reverse retros did.
Yeah.
Which means that Toronto will have like an extra $100 million or something.
Free market capitalism.
Oh wow, yeah. There we go. For sports.
Survival. The financial survival of the fittest. And I bet you now, Adidas is feeling real dumb about making Detroit so crappy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we disabled a top six, like an original six franchise. Oh, wait, they already suck. Right now, currently.
See, if they should have gone bold with it, they should have just put a Little Caesars pizza, like with a red wing coming out of it. That would have been pretty great.
Hey, marron.
Marron.
I mean, I can't do that. That's not official Italian pizza. We disown it. I speak for all Italians.
I speak for former Governor Andrew Cuomo when I say that's not real Italian pizza.
Well, I will not be tied to him, so I am going to pretend he didn't say that. Remember, kids, first of all, don't do horrible things. Second of all, don't write a book.
Just don't write books. No, just don't write books. Yeah,
sure. That's fair.
Don't read them. Don't write them.
Kids of America, do not read books. Do not write books. Books are bad.
Yes.
Listen to podcasts. Consume YouTube content.
So anyway, I think we're losing it a little bit. So that's probably time to wrap it up.
Yes.
And any closing thoughts?
Just happy with the last week of play. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have to overdo it this week. Just happy with their last week of play, and really looking forward to the next, or just the fact that they're over 500 on such a long road trip so far.
Yes, their current record is 3-2-1. So yeah,
and the
exactly.
Metro Division's a beast again.
Yeah, as we anticipated. So
there's no bad teams.
Yep. Except the Rangers. So so that's my closing thought.
Okay, morally yes.
Yeah, but they're a morally terrible team, but
I guess maybe the Blackhawks are the only morally terrible team in the
yes.
moment.
Well, the team,
well,
some people in the organization probably yes.
There are also accusations that the players would bully the player about getting sexually assaulted. So, you know what? The players might be involved in this too.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's end this before it gets morbid.
Yes.
All right, thank you everybody for listening or watching. This is, if you're listening to the audio version on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify or any other podcast app that gets it, you can check out the video version so you can see Tom and my face. And also see, I have the NHL website open here, and we can look at the schedule and some of the stats as we talk about it. And if you're listening to the video version or watching the video version, you can listen to the audio only version if you do not want to see Tom and my face.
I will start tweeting the weeks that I have shaved before the podcast and the weeks that I haven't to help you coordinate that.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.